Manchester City had to come from behind to beat Everton as the champions kept pace with league leaders Liverpool. Pep Guardiola's side are aiming to lift the trophy for the fourth consecutive season. Had looked like falling 8 points behind before behind the Reds, but recovered with 3 second-half goals. Joining us now for more on this is Manchester football writer of The Guardian, Jamie Jackson. Morning, Jamie.
Morning, Jamie.
Good morning, good morning.
Look, it was a decent first half from Everton, but in the second half, Man City obviously showed their dominance, showed their class, but I don't know if Manchester City just lacking something that they've had in the past, and I don't know what. I can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's the players and De Bruyne.
Yeah, I mean, De Bruyne is missing. Haaland, too. They lost Ilkay Gundogan, didn't they, in the summer, who was the treble-winning captain, who's, you know, I've seen him score a lot of important goals for them. And yeah, I wasn't that surprised actually that Everton went ahead because of what we're talking about. Because City, I agree with you, Jay. I think they are missing a little X factor. But what I would say is, you know, in De Bruyne and Haaland, there's a couple of X factors. Plus, you've got Guardiola, who is the X factor, and I just think he is experienced at sort of, you know, taking the team by the scruff of the neck, dipping form. It's happened previously when they've ended up winning titles and going on winning runs. And Foden's a bonus, I'd say, because this was Foden's chance with De Bruyne being out of the team for so long since Burnley opening Friday of the season. He didn't necessarily take it straight away, but now he has done recently. And that goal he scored yesterday evening, you know, that's his class. Every time he gets the ball, I always think, because I see a lot of him, he looks menacing. You know what I mean? He looks like he's got something in him that's going to change the game or make something happen. And that goal basically did that for City. So, you know, if you're Liverpool or Arsenal, you're thinking, oh, crikey, here we go again, maybe. They've just won the FIFA Club World Cup. They've gone to Goodison straight away from coming back a couple of days home, which is not easy to go to. We all know that. They've been doing really well. And in the end, you kind of say they sort of turned them over a little bit, having gone behind. So I met Sheffield United on Saturday at the Etihad, City's next game. And, you know, you'd say that they'd probably win that quite easily, really. They are missing a little something, but as I say, I just feel maybe now is their time. Maybe they've had their blip. And if you look at that league, you know, the standings, if they win their game now, they'll only be 3 behind Liverpool. So
well, it's De Bruyne, isn't it? If you sit down and, you know, you look at it straight as a die, how many points is De Bruyne worth in a season? How many points? It's like Van Dijk when he was missing for Liverpool. How many points are they worth? Alisson, how many points is he worth? So De Bruyne in the team, you're going to get, he's probably 10 points having him in the team. Yeah. If you lose him, that's what he's worth to the team. So you're bound to miss him. But I'm pleased for Foden. He gave a daft penalty away, didn't he, last week? Remember, was it last week, the week before, he stuck his leg in, give the ball away, give a penalty away in the last minute. And he's bounced back, and I thought he was brilliant yesterday. Brilliant, great, just a talented footballer.
He is a top footballer. Look, they talk about that they won the treble, which was unbelievable last season, and you know made history again. But to do it, to win a Premier League title for the fourth consecutive season is obviously a tough ask as well. And maybe that's the incentive now, isn't it, to go at that and be like, because I always feel like with Pep, there's always something that he wants. There's always a record that he can put into the boys' heads to be like, we got to do this now. And now it feels like he's got to bring them together to do that.
Yeah, 100%. He will be using that. It was interesting. He said after the game that on the plane home from the Club World Cup, he overheard his players talking about the Everton game. And I think he said, you know, they didn't realise I was listening. You know, they didn't realise Pep Guardiola was listening to this conversation on plane, and he was pleased with that, obviously. And he's using that as well, as you two will both know, having been players, as a message to them to say, you know, well done, keep it up. And yeah, 4 in a row. I think there's about 3 or 4 teams have done the 3 in a row league titles in our country. No one's ever done 4, and he'll definitely be using that. And he'll also be using it a little bit in his comments recently, a sort of siege mentality. You know, people are saying, oh, you know, we've lost it essentially. We've only actually lost 1 game in the last sort of few. We've drawn a lot, obviously. You know, people are sort of saying we've had it kind of thing, and using that as a siege mentality, like Ferguson used to do, like all the good ones do.
Any news? Sorry, Jamie. Any news on John Stone's injury?
Well, they're waiting to find out about it. I think he's a bit worried about it, really.
He can't stay fit.
He'd been out. Yeah, he'd been out for a little while, hadn't he? And I don't know if you remember, but he'd kind of been until recently hampered by injuries through his City career. He'd come in have a good half a season and then get something and go back out. So he'll be concerned about that. But the De Bruyne thing, Dean, you're completely right. I mean, if you look at it that way, look where they are in the league without him basically being with them all season. He played 20 odd minutes, I think it was, of the Burnley game. I was at that game, Turf Moor, and he hasn't been seen since. And he'll be back very soon. He may well be in the squad, if not on Saturday, the FA Cup game after that. So, if you're their rivals, you think, hello, here we go again, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Just elsewhere, Jane, the class of 92 have sacked their 6th manager in 8 years up at Salford. Neil Wood leaves the club after an 8-game winless league run. This is becoming quite a normal thing, really, isn't it, up at Salford to get rid of their managers?
Was it Gary Neville sacking them?
I think it essentially is.
Yeah, of course it is. He's the owner.
It's
ruthless.
Well, exactly. And obviously, he's a massive Manchester United fan, and he can moan a little bit about the turmoil there and the turnover at Manchester United. I mean, I did the Leeds United Carabao Cup tie that Salford had in late August, and they beat them on penalty shootout at Salford's ground. And Gary Neville was there, and all was rosy. I know it was a long time ago, but he is someone, and they are probably all of them, the class of 92, sort of think that it should be about stability. But you say the record there, Jay, winless running 8. It's not great.
Do you think he's a bit of a hypocrite, though, Neville? Because he goes on Sky and he says that you got to build a team and you've got to do this 2-3 year projects, and they sack a manager every 16 months.
Was it Neil Wood? He's had 18 months, hasn't he?
19 months.
Well, he had a bonus then. I mean, I think football can make hypocrites of all of us when it comes to your team or your vested interest. I was looking at some of the names in the frame now. I mean, you got, would Ryan Giggs come in at sort of 12 or 14 to 1 just as a caretaker role, because Paul Scholes has done it. Maybe someone like that. Paul Ince, maybe, who's obviously a former United teammate of theirs. But you are right. It's a little bit comical, I suppose, considering, it's Salford City. They've got ambitious, but I'm not too sure how much further that club can go. It's a good little setup there.
Yeah.
But it did feel a little bit ruthless. What is it? 2 days after Christmas. Merry Christmas to Neil Wood. I mean, it's a shame for him. I'm not laughing at Neil Wood. I'm sort of saying you could have maybe waited or done it a little bit earlier. I don't know.
Well, if he's got one of the highest budgets in the league and he's gone 8 games without winning, then and you're expecting to get promotion and win the league, then you can see why they've sacked him.
There's so many clubs now in that league trying to spend money and do the same thing. Look at Wrexham. There's so many teams now who think, right, let's pump some dough in. Owners coming over and thinking, hold on a minute, I can get a club from League 2 into the Premier League. I'll have a bit of that. Doesn't happen in America. These people are coming over and they're not used to it. They have franchises out there. It costs them $500 million to try and get them in the MLS. Here, you can take over a small team, spend a few quid, and you can get promoted every couple of seasons. And that's why they're all looking at it. Gillingham have got the owners. Wrexham are doing it. You can see more and more of it. That's why it's got harder for these clubs to get out of that league.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.